G'day everybody, welcome back to Enshrouded, and a very good morning to you from Wistful Fields. Another morning, another job to complete here at the new residence. We do have the blocks that we need to continue the work, and I believe we're going to essentially put a floor down to try and get the attic going, and then hopefully we can move to either dividing the rooms up or placing down some kind of a roof over this place. So I was having a think about the entire build and where we're up to. I figure maybe it's not a bad thing for us to start dividing the rooms now, before we even get to, placing down a roof, because I think once we do place down a roof or even a floor on top of the second story here, it's going to be a lot more difficult for us to sort of take a look at the thing from a further away perspective to judge whether or not we've got enough space. So I think, yeah, we'll try and divide the rooms first, and then we'll sort of go from there. So the first thing I want to do, though, is to just, I guess, put down the rest of the floor here on the second story. So let's go ahead and do that initially. And then once that's done, I would say that we want to start dividing the room, or the rooms rather, on the second story and also the basement. And I want to reserve the ground floor for, I don't know, just other stuff, decorative things, living areas, libraries and what have you. So no one's going to be living in any of these spaces, but, well, actually people are going to be living in these spaces, but they won't actually have their own rooms in those two spaces. So let's start thinking about things from here. So half timbered blocks. We may run out, in which case I might actually need to go out and gather a little bit more clay, actually. So that's one thing that I haven't done. But we've got 1,600 of these blocks, so I'm relatively comfortable that we'll have enough. So the real question is, how much space do I want to give people? And how much space do I want for, things like corridors and whatnot, right? So, because, obviously we want a bit of a space over here. And we've got to think about, a space for people to move around in. I'll probably decorate all of the space around the staircase. Perhaps maybe I can use the 4x4 pieces as a guide to how much room I want to give everyone. So that's 2. That's probably a little bit too much. So perhaps maybe something like that. That's 2.5. Is that enough? I suppose I don't want the corridors to be too big either. We want people to have enough space, so perhaps maybe just a little bit more that way. Don't worry, I am going to be removing this. This is just sort of a little bit of a guide for myself to figure out how things are going to pan out. I don't even know if I'm going to keep all of this. We may actually remove all of it. Or, you know, it could be someone else's room over here. Could be a possibility to do that. In which case, I'd probably need a little bit more of the floor pieces. So maybe we can just extend things out a little bit. Again, not sure if we're going to keep it, but if we do, then at least we've got a little bit of an idea of how much space we have to work with. I think it could work. We could have additional room over here, whether or not it's for someone to live in or something else. If anything, I think we need just a little bit more, like so. Alright, returning back to dividing the rooms though. So this is obviously all just going by feel. And if we need to correct stuff, then we will. But yeah, so that's the idea there. Is that decent enough? Perhaps. So it may also come down to how much space do we give us with the walls for the staircase. So what I might do is I might place down these pieces there. And I feel like maybe the landing section is a little bit too big. I feel like maybe we need to reduce the size. I'm almost starting to feel as well that perhaps maybe I should have pulled the staircase towards the entrance a little bit more. But those are, I guess, drastic measures if we do need to make those changes. So let's not go there just yet. And perhaps maybe there's some saving that we can do on the way we've built things so far. But yeah, this is where things start getting a little bit more complicated because of the, I guess, the choices that we've made. So let's just double check here If anything, perhaps maybe the landing might need to start earlier. The only reason why I say that is because I feel like we don't really have a lot of space above us if we do, you know, cover things. Yeah, getting staircases into homes can be quite the pain. It isn't the easiest thing to do. I'm gonna try my hand at placing down more of the stone walls. So it could be like that, or we could place it a little bit closer to the fireplace, but I'm sort of thinking that's maybe not desirable to be so close to the fireplace. I sort of want to give myself a little bit more space. So maybe we might even need to reduce the size of the landing even further. I don't mind that because, look, it's just a place that we're going to pass through. So if it needs to be a little smaller, that's fine. Alright, which means we'll probably have to play around with, you know, the size of the landing here as well. So we may as well do that now, because it's fresh in my mind. Actually, we might not need to remove these ones, because these will just blend in with what we want to place down. What we might need to do though is fix up the stuff that we've got directly below. Are we in the right spot? If I'm replicating that from the top. Maybe not. Actually. Which is a bit frustrating. Hang on. Let me repair all of that. Alright. I think that should work. There's going to be a little bit of dead space underneath the stairs, which perhaps maybe we can use for things like storage and stuff. I don't mind that idea. Let's just fix up what's supposed to go down below here. Okay, so I think we still have enough space in front of the fireplace, so that's good. And I was sort of open to the idea of maybe creating a bit of a nook, but I think in terms of the opening for the staircase to go down, I think we're going to need that space. Again, really wishing right now that I have a little bit more space to work with, and I'm wishing that I shifted the entire thing to the right of where we can see right now. But, that's okay. I can live with it. Alright, back to dividing rooms. So, we really got sidetracked there. What is going on out here? Enemies getting attacked and stuff, or wildlife getting attacked. I could try to kill some of the enemies nearby, just so that they're not going to be a problem, but that's okay. Let's not worry about that. Are we happy with the amount of space that we're giving people? Again, I suppose it will come down to the amount of space that we need for walls enclosing the staircase. So let's continue working on the staircase a little bit more. I'm just gonna see if I can maybe bring the stone wall up a little bit. So if we bring it up to that point, and then we go half timber blocks. I think that looks a little bit better in terms of the... because we've got this weird aesthetic thing going on with like these beams that appear on the sides. I'm wondering if there's a better way of getting rid of that. Like if we can get a bit clever with it, maybe what we could do is we could extend the conifer wood out like that, and then okay, the conifer wood is also giving us the same aesthetic. So yeah, I feel like there's no winning on that front. So we did something like that. I would get rid of that aesthetic. And we could potentially do I don't know if this makes sense, but I'm sort of just experimenting. Possibly. And so you would get that aesthetic a little bit coming through, but it won't be sort of protruding too much. I wonder what it would look like if we used stone instead. It doesn't look too bad, actually. And it almost feels like, you know, we have quite a bit of stone holding things up. Yeah, I think we'll go with that aesthetic, but the real thing that I wanted to test is whether or not this is enough space for us. Like, is this a big enough corridor, or is it too narrow? And I get the feeling that it feels a little narrow to me, so I probably want to reduce the size of these rooms, which, now that I think about it, it feels like these rooms are a little bit small. So it's gonna get a little bit cramped in here. But what I might do is retest with more half-timbered blocks, like so. And again, yeah, this feels a lot better. Just a little bit more breathing room. Okay, I think I'm sold with dividing the room that way. Remove these. And we'll just plug up the gaps. We'll obviously need to add a little bit more height to it, and that's fine. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and on the 13th, that's when we start a wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So from there, okay, so we've got a rough plan of what things are going to look like. But then how do we divide these two spaces even further? So this is what I was sort of thinking about between episodes is, do we have 4 people per floor? That would only house 8 people in total. Maybe 10 with people living in the attic as well. Or if we're going to be really, really tight on space, we could do 6 people per floor, which would then give us 12, maybe 14 people I can't remember how many people we actually need to house at this stage. I didn't really do a head count before we started this, but it does seem like there are quite a few homeless people out there. Yeah, I mean, we probably have the benefit of maybe a space for a couple of more people in the basement of the previous home that we built. So there's that. Okay. Since we're still, you know, dividing spaces, why don't we continue with that thought, and we'll divide the space in the basement as well. Okay, guys, so I think I'm pretty happy with the room division down here. I did have to make some openings because, well, otherwise I couldn't really get through, but that's fine. We'll eventually be putting various doors, obviously. Now comes the difficult decision on how much space I'm actually going to give each person. So I really do want to not have to build another dorm, but I will if I have to. But on that note, perhaps maybe we can try to consider giving less space for everyone and trying to divide things in that way. So, ooh, that's a bit of a gap right there, which I totally missed. Which means we might need to do a bit of a count on how much space we actually have here. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That is going to be kind of difficult for us, isn't it? Because if we want to get like 3 rooms in here, maybe one of them might need to be either bigger or smaller. Tricky. So, something like this. Is this enough room for one person? It is a bit tiny, isn't it? They'll have a bed, they'll have, you know, a few furnishings here and there. I think it could work. So that's 11 blocks from this wall here. 11 by, I'm not entirely sure, but... so if we do something like that, we could do the same thing from the other corner. like so. And the room in between is going to be for someone who's a bit unlucky because they get less space. So this would be, I don't know what this would be actually. Let me have a look. Yeah, so that's 10. So very slightly smaller. Still livable, if you ask me. I'm making excuses now. But I think that's what we'll go with. We'll go with that kind of division for the rest of the rooms as well. So bear with me while I get that in place. So, I think that's it for the division of rooms. The next thing that we can probably get done is just continuing with, I guess, covering off the staircase, because, yeah, I'm not entirely sure how we're going to get this done exactly, but I suppose as we do it, we'll eventually figure out a decent way to cover everything up. I think we sort of made the decision on the aesthetic on this one side, and I do want to try and continue that. Probably just need to fix some parts of it up a little bit. Maybe even do something like that, just to not make it look so jarring. So hopefully that makes sense, or... yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way here. I suppose maybe we could have... yeah, okay, so that's looking much better like that. Okay. And then... maybe we need to do stuff on this back wall. Or, sorry, on the wall facing the fireplace. So, let's get to that. So much for, getting started with the attic. I thought that's what we were going to be doing in this episode, but no. Completely wrong. Oh yes, that's right. I also do need to cut back on the landing section here, which I think we're maybe reducing it by a couple of blocks in terms of width. So something along those lines. Then we go with a wall that continues upwards. So let's place that in, like so. Again, this aesthetic that we've got, I feel like this has always been a problem every time we were building stairs in some of the other builds as well. So, yeah, it is definitely something we need to address. So that looks good, and then we do, I'd say, one of these pieces here. And as I mentioned before, what we'll end up doing with this little space is using that for some kind of storage compartment, because it is a little bit of dead space. Okay, let's open this up a little bit. And we could probably afford to close this section off with more conifer wood. So let's go ahead and do that. Good. So yeah, this part is going to be a little tricky. But what I'll do is just place these blocks like so. Actually, that's the wrong move. We do need to open that up a little bit, but we are going to add half timbered blocks just above it, like so. And then from here, we do... one block like that, and like that. And here as well, we do a few blocks. Like so. Probably just need to extend some of the half-timbered blocks over this side here. Alright. I suppose we could just cover this off with stone. We continue the same aesthetic on the outside, like so. That should hopefully complete the center sort of staircase section. Yeah, got a little bit more space up here. Seems a little bit more spacious. Why is that? Perhaps maybe because... maybe this is a little bit more protruded, this fireplace. Not 100% sure. We're gonna need to figure out a way to block this all off as well. It's getting a little bit dark in here though. Wonder if I can maybe move one of our candles down there. Maybe even another one just over here. Give us a little bit of light in that little nook there. But I could probably just block this off with stone. Doesn't seem like a bad idea. Can I speed up the process? Something like that. It's a bit difficult to see what's going on in here now. But I think that did the trick. Yeah, cool. So we've got that little nook. How we utilize it, I'm still not 100% sure just yet. Maybe we could have like a hidden, you know, like one of those hidden doors. That might be cool. Okay, so now that that's all done and we've divided rooms and everything, I think maybe we could spend some time getting the attic floor in, but we probably need to have a sleep first before we even consider doing that. Looking very ominous down there, isn't it? Has that always been the case? I'm just trying to remember now. I guess it has always been the case, hasn't it? The problem is this game keeps receiving updates and it's hard to keep track of what's new and what's old at times. Right, we are looking decent here. So, we could probably get, as I said, maybe a couple more people. Maybe, I don't know. Depending on how things turn out with the roof, maybe we could even fit like 4 people in here. Because we're doing 6 in the other levels, right? So, perhaps, maybe it might not be such a bad idea to do 4 up there. But speaking of those rooms, I suppose I should just tidy up the remaining rooms and just, you know, make sure that the walls are at the height that they need to be. So let's just go ahead and do that now before continuing on with anything else. Okay, that was a bit of work, but I'm glad we managed to sort of fly through all of that, giving all of these rooms doors and stuff like that. So obviously there'll be actual, you know, doors you can open and close when we're done, but I'll probably cross that bridge when I need to another time. I think in the next episode we're going to start thinking about putting the roof on top of this place, and then only after the roof is in, we'll then decide how we're going to, I suppose, split up the area on the attic, or in the attic, rather. So I hope you guys look forward to that. I hope you enjoyed this one. I know there was quite a lot done in this one, but I'm glad that we're actually making some headway. So hopefully, crossing my fingers, we can house people very soon. Cheers for watching. Drop me a like if you enjoyed it. Stay true. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.